work a bit with councils.
Yeah.
So we do parks for councils, like town parks.
Yeah.
Bring them through kind of community process.
The serious stuff, like.
Yeah, that's the nice end of it actually. It's fun stuff. Another thing we've started doing in the last few years is rainwater swimming pools. So a swimming pool in your garden with filtered rainwater.
No way.
So taking rainwater from the roofs down the gutters and bringing it into a sealed liner.
Like digging a hole then in the garden and then sealing
the hole.
Yeah.
I mean there's more layers to it, but essentially that's what you do. You buy a really expensive piece of rubber and you seal it.
Yeah.
And the rainwater comes into that and it's filtered. Generally you cycle the rainwater. There's different ways of doing it, but it's filtered with plants, not with chlorine. So you're swimming in like unchlorinated rainwater. Rainwater is really clean. I mean, you can almost drink it. You know, it's probably better for you than tap water because it's not got chlorine or fluoride in it.
Yeah. Do you collect your own rain? Would you collect? Is that the way to do it? Totally. Should we all be collecting our own? Well, should I collect my own rainwater?
Just on a health thing, I don't drink that rainwater. I do all the water we drink at home. We collect in Killer Woods in the spring. So, I mean. I much rather that when you listen to people talk about structured water, what you get out of a tap is unstructured. I don't know. You can go deep on that, but there seems to be.
If you want, I'm interested because what I do at the moment, we'll say with this water is it's probably the worst thing to. But I buy a bottle of water in the supermarket, and then I put it through the Brita filter and then.
Do you know what I do down in work? I buy water, but I noticed that the red ones, the 5 litre drums, they all leave shite behind in the kettle. Whereas the Volvic, it's more expensive. Yeah, that doesn't.
It doesn't.
There's no scum in the kettle with the Volvic. But there's a well out by you actually on the back road to Ballyhooly.
There's a well out by me. Yeah. Okay. Where is it?
Castle Tavern. You go on the back road into Fermoy. Yeah. But it's not the first turn. It's the second turn.
Oh. Okay.
I have a map actually. It's a Telegram group that people are populating a Google map. Yeah. With springs of Clare, Kerry, Cork. I think it's just that corner of Ireland. Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Probably, yeah.
And has that been is someone is kind of saying just like we think this should be on the app because it's good water? Is it kind of, or is it just a well? Just a well in general, is it?
Yeah. It's a group that sprung up during the COVID madness. There was a few of these groups. Telegram, in particular, there seems to be a lot of them. But one of the groups, it's the Lighthouse Network. They sprung up during COVID. All the people who were marginalised and excluded from not having a vaccine and willing to wear a mask. Yeah, they started building
the non-sheep.
But they started building something positive. One group in particular, the Lighthouse, and the Lighthouse were like beacons of hope in the kind of darkness that was.
Oh, cool.
And they started building around kind of positive messaging around health. And one of the things that arose out of that was this network of spring water. Okay. A lot of people are drinking it from in their house. So
that's really cool.
Actually, that's a little tangent, but
no. Like your values are your values appear to be very deep rooted in I suppose in nature and the land and what a writer or you appear to have be someone who's really connected as best you can be, with Mother Earth and stuff like that. And I guess the job that you do really, I suppose that obviously comes into your job. So when you're looking at a piece of land that you have to develop into, I suppose top up high on the list would be nature and wildlife and taking care of the land itself. Would I be right? Sorry, man.
You're right there. I mean, there's obviously the harder elements of engineering and money and all of those things, and we're involved in plenty of sites that are development sites which are like for housing, which aren't actually, you don't have the same capacity for bringing in the kind of nicer end of stuff.
Of course,
that tends to pay the bills and allows the other stuff to happen.
And then you landscape it around that then, like, is it kind of...
I mean, we get a lot of odd calls. I had a call today from a person who wants to make a business, I won't give too much away, out of growing one particular flower. Commercially. So processing it. It's lovely to see that in Ireland, because I think we lost it for over a generation, almost 2 generations, that level of people growing stuff to process or to make it into a product. Very little of it done here,
Oh, really?
Oh, totally. Like, I mean, you try and buy your vegetables here, there's very little. And I understand because, like, it's a fucking hard game trying to make money out of vegetables.
To make money off vegetables.
I just bought, you know, the woman down by the mart?
Yes.
From Killa. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I don't know her, but
yeah. Always, like, it's great. If I see her there and I'm passing, whatever, yeah, try and buy everything.
She's got a sale if she, yeah.
Oh, like, that stuff is invaluable, you know. You tend to have lost it, but maybe it's coming back, you know. It's interesting, the Trump stuff that's happening, all these tariffs that are coming.
Okay.
You know, one way out of that is, you aware of that last night? It was,
sorry, Cathal, I'm not.
Okay,
I'm
so
not
Trump just put tariffs on Irish whiskey, well, whiskey, I guess, imported whiskey into the US, 50% tariff, I think, and wine. So it's going to really hit, obviously, European drink producers.
Yeah.
But native drink producers in the US, it'll be a huge, you know, shot in the arm. Because,
of course, yeah.
But it's interesting to kind of speculate, and as this probably escalates, the area of globalization of everything, you know, the supermarket, your vegetables are from anywhere, that might slow down or it might reverse a bit, and we might see.
Might be nice. There might be some good side to that
to growing
non-global trading of
totally.
fruit and veg, especially.
Because it's like, wow, when you start to really almost intuit it, like it's more than economics. Economics allow it to happen, but like particularly with the health side of things, like this idea of medicine, going to a doctor and getting a pill, and a pill cures the thing.
Yeah.
It's like you miss so many layers of how that should work, which is medicine should come from the land. You should be able to see it growing, understand it to some level, and watch somebody, or ideally prepare it yourself.
Yes. In
order that medicines are made locally to treat people locally. Yeah. Like the Rockefeller medicine that we took up for the last 110, 20 years.
Yeah, I understand.
I mean, more like it's. I think so much of it's nonsense. Yeah.
It's nonsense.
Yeah, that's
just
it. Like
if
I get hit in the bike and I'm on the ground, I want a doctor to be able to stitch me and to treat me with antibiotics.
With the best medicine available to man to keep you, of course.
Yeah, but it tends to work really well for like trauma, like bleeds and broken faces and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What does an antibiotic? Is that
the
natural?
The Western medicine works really well in that context, but less well in the context of I have a mysterious ailment, not quite sure what it is.
Or I'm not feeling very good, like we'll say.
Pill.
Yeah.
That's kind of like
that Mother Earth has already given us all those pill type stuff in the nature and the land.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You're in great shape. Like, would you have a healthy enough kind of diet and
I mean,
and lifestyle? You're in great shape.
I do quite a bit of fasting. I've tied it into Lent for the last few years. I usually come out of Lent with a 3-day fast at the end of Lent. This year I'm doing 2 days a week, and that's fasting 24 hours.
So you're doing 2 24-hour fasts during the week or something?
Yeah. Cool. So maybe 6 o'clock one day to 6. So you have your evening dinner, and then nothing for 24 hours, and then you have it again. Yeah.
That's really cool, isn't it?
Have you?
Yeah, I do it a little bit. You know what I mean? I've never done what you did, like that Easter 2 or 3 day. Like I've never been off food, we'll say, further than a day and a half, so 36 hours, I think. And
was that last year?
That was last year. I think it was actually just coincide when you during your one, just happened to be talking at the same time. And I had to get up in the middle of the night. I had to do it in the middle of the night. I had to get up and have a banana. I swear to God, I had to and it settled me again. I'm back to bed, so I broke the fast. I wasn't trying to do anything. Like it wasn't a competition either. I was just like going, I'm feeling kind of good now. I just keep it going. Do you know what I mean?
I know your head goes into different spaces in it. Sometimes, like when I'm fasting, I can be quite agitated, and then you push through that, and you're going to really calm sense again.
Yeah, I have a friend who regularly does. He's done very long fasts.
Has he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, and he's like gone. Jesus, if he never had a bite to eat again, it wouldn't have bothered him. Type stuff. Like he was like buzzing off his fucking head.
Is he treating something with it?
No, he's just wanted just like that. He does kind of stuff like that. Yeah, he just.
My brother-in-law, he's got arthritis, and he's been fasting as a way of treating it. It's like. It gets really bad, it builds up and it gets really bad, and then he goes for a period of he can do a week or 2 weeks, and he's probably even done more 3 weeks. I'm not quite sure how long he's gone.
Jesus.
But what it gives him is it gives him back full movement of his.
No way! All the inflammation goes down.
All the inflammation goes.
Holy shit!
It's amazing, like.
It is amazing. I hear you.
I know.
Are you vegetarian? No.
I love meat.
You love meat, yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Meat and fat. I think we were sold a con, and actually, like, this is I think in a lot of different disciplines we seem to have built a structure of knowledge based on a fundamental flaw. Like when you look at, I mean, you can look at it and everything, but the one particular I'd refer to is this cholesterol myth that we grew up in that era, you know.
Yeah,
we didn't
absolutely.
have butter in the house as kids.
No,
you
had Flora-Lite.
Vital-Lite is what we had.
Yeah.
But it's sludge, you know. It's industrial waste.
Is that just garbage altogether?
It's total. It seems to be total horseshit, but that was the thing we were sold because cholesterol was the problem allegedly.
Yeah.
But like, I think we're reversing that now and realizing that actually fat is fine because it's ancestral, and you know your grandparents and their grandparents and going back along. Like, it seems a problem when you kind of point to these ancestral foods and say that's an issue.
Yes.
Like, I don't think so.
No, it's the stuff coming out of wrappers, really, isn't it? It's like if it's, isn't it? Like if it's in a wrapper, it's probably like fucking like not going to be great here, like, isn't it? I mean, tins are probably alright. Tinned food, I suppose. I guess
it's
it's been done for years, and people have.
Yeah, I think so.
Are you all from Michael? Sorry. You were born. Yeah. And did you go to St. Coleman's? Did you? How do you find the? I suppose you know nothing better. This is where you're from. This is the way
totally.
it is. Like,
I moved away for a few years. All right.
Overseas. Yeah, cool.
And
how I was going to ask you, how do you find doing business in the Fermoy area? We'll say, do you find it?
It's fine. I like a lot of our business isn't local, you know. I mean, it can be.
The office in town.
The office in town.
I was on your website actually. Is your office up? You overlooking the kind of the square and the town?
Yeah, we're on the corner with windows on both sides over Vodafone. Yeah.
I didn't realise until I was on your website and you had a photograph of you, but even a lovely view of the town up there.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
And you've been in the architect landscape. Like, what would you do? Would you just come in with a bulldoze, Cathal, and bulldoze the whole town and start again?
No,
what would you do to? You've both got a bird's eye view of from where your office is, and you're obviously probably the most experienced guy at this game in the country and international. You know, you're beyond. Well, you're very highly thought of anyway, Cathal. Anyway, I'm no expert, but you definitely are. But what would you? Sorry, my question was. From the Fermoy town. It's a bit scabby looking there. Like sometimes, is there anything you'd like to do with it now? If they gave you the keys to do whatever the heck you want.
It'd just be nice to see a little bit of money and thought put into the town, on the streets,
and loads of thought. The likes of you and maybe Paul Cavan and all these heads just bang them all together and just have an unlimited supply of money. Why would you not have an unlimited supply of money? What else are you going to spend the money on?
I know, but just basic stuff, Mike.
Yeah.
Like, there hasn't been a street tree planted in Fermoy in probably. I remember. Do you remember? Were you in Bishop Murphy? No, you went here.
St. Joseph's.
I remember we were in Bishop Murphy. This is 1980s, and Justin McCarthy, a lawyer in town, he started planting trees in the streets, but like it wasn't well understood. They didn't give him enough soil and go down. So there were problems. And almost none of those trees are there today. Maybe there's an odd birch on Patrick Street that's there, but like it's a pity that that's not thought about. You know, just planting trees in the streets. It's basic enough stuff. And repaving the streets. You know, just with nice quality materials. Not a lot.
The footpaths, you mean?
Like the flood relief works again. Were they 50 million they spent in the town? Spent 50 million in Fermoy and 50 million in Mallow.
Yeah.
And they spent them in to stop the same river from flooding, but they spent the money in the most expensive place to spend the money, which is the town. Yeah. Whereas like there's kind of it's easier to buy rural land.
You've done the job.
And dug down, you know. So
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, you create sacrificial wetlands, which is what like river valleys had. But actually, this here's a funny one. So the OPW, Office of Public Works, right? They were the Board of Works. That's where they came from. And in famine times, the Board of Works would do relief projects. That was like lowering the road in Fermoy. They dropped the hill low.
Yes.
They did building walls around the state. Those kind of works.
Yeah.
But they were also giving farmers grants to drain the uplands. Yeah.
Okay.
So if a farmer had bad land,
yeah,
the OPW would give them money, or the Board of Works would give them money, in order that they could dig ditches and get the rainwater off their land, right?
Okay.
So all the rainwater came off the land, and that was a process that continued and amplified in the 20th century.
Yeah.
And by sometime late 20th century, the OPW, who were giving the grants to drain the uplands, were given a remit by the government to protect the towns that were now being flooded.
Yeah.
Because all the uplands are being drained, all this water is going to go somewhere. It's all shooting down faster into the rivers and trying to get it out to sea. And it comes barreling towards our towns, and we've got a problem, you know.
Jesus.
But like the answer is actually just like the landscape is like a sponge, yeah.
Okay.
And it needs to contain water to buffer the discharge rate, yeah. So it doesn't. If you flood the sponge, it obviously does flood.
Yeah.
But having that capacity in the landscape, and that's like we've got a whole language in Irish, and I'm no expert of like different areas of water in the landscape. Like there's boggy land, there's wet land, there's reeds, there's rushes. They're all landscape types, you know.
Yeah.
There's fens, there's marshes. They're all largely gone. We've now got field and we've got river, you know. And it's actually just putting all that soakage back into the landscape.
Really?
But like it was
largely gone because it was dug.
It was drained out.
It was drained out. So I'm trying to. I'm with you. No, I'm with you. I'm very interested. Like,
I think the OPW are slowly coming around to this, but like they approach Fermoy and Mallow with one trick, which is essentially put a wall or put a berm around it to stop it flooding. Yeah. So we kind of got walls around the town, protecting the town from the river, rather than
the right plants and fucking stuff like that. Jeez. Yeah. Are you still keeping hens, Cathal?
Still keeping hens, like 18 of them.
18
of them at the moment.
Oh wow.
The fox always takes a load during the winter.
Oh no.
So it's picking them off.
A load?
I think we had 30 one coming into the winter.
Ooh.
So the fox has had
oh my god,
a good feed over the winter.
But you're obviously they're roaming around fairly free to say.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't pin in like such a big area like.
No, they go in at night, alright. So at night they're kind of, and we close the door.
The foxes go.
No, the hens go in at night, and they're out during. The chickens are out during the day. Yeah. So often that's when the fox comes in.
But I wasn't sure. I thought the fox always went hunting at night, or not hunt. I went chasing.
Petra saw him in the garden literally 3 days ago, and she was working, and she's in the garden. She can see the fox. Yeah. And the fox is looking at her, and he's like, and the chickens are all around. And he wasn't like going straight for the chickens, going for the kill. He was just kind of hanging around with them, and then he saw her, and it was like an interaction for a few seconds. And he went, all right, and he kind of half ran away, and then he more ran away. So, yeah.
I got some on your advice, like take your advice.
Okay.
I take Colin's advice on things that he comes in for a puncture repair kit, and then I destroy him with questions and take his advice on certain things. But one of the things was the hens, like, and I found since I love my morning chores. I'm bursting to the bed in the morning, like, and I find the hens are great, like, you know, you got the feed, you're going down, the jobs are done. But it's got me spending a lot more time in the garden and out in nature and than what I used to. Yeah. Because before, if I was out in nature, I was always training or exercising. But now I'm out in nature, doing a few little jobs, and it has me, and I love them. They're like little dinosaurs. They're like fucking.
Yeah, totally. Eating worms and picking around.
Yeah, even the look at them, like they look like they'd eat you. Like they're very good. Do you know what I mean? They don't. But my own dog, fucking. Anyway, but my own dog bit one of them last Sunday. Yeah. My dog is great when I'm around, but when I'm not around, she's a little bitch. Anyway, she bit one of them, and so I have 6, and one of them like is injured now. But I noticed that the other hens had been picking a little bit at the injured hen, so I had to remove the injured one and put that one into like I suppose definitely.
You know colloidal silver? You notice? They might sell it in Horan's health food store. It's a spray, but it's got silver in the water. It's colloidal silver. It's like, you know the way keys get plated with a different metal. Okay. Electrolysis is that what? Anyway, this has silver in the water. Yeah. And it's really good, like antiseptic. I put it on the chickens when they get wounds. Oh, really? You just lift up wherever the wound is. Colloidal, Collol.
Okay.
Silver.
Right
Colloidal silver.
there. Yeah, no, I could do something.
I don't know. I mean, there might be a better product. That's what I have.
I didn't even know there was a product. I was just like keeping it by itself and hoping it would heal itself. I'm a bit worried about you get attached to them anyway.
I know. There's always the pot, Mike. If you're up for it.
There's always the pot. Yeah, jeez, I couldn't.
Find it hard to do.
No,
I do as well. Yeah. I know.
Tears in my eyes, and I don't eat meat anyway. But
okay.
So, and a friend of mine actually. He knew I was keeping the chickens, and he gave me 2 fantail pigeons.
Oh,
they're like he keeps fancy pigeons and racing pigeons and different pigeons, and he had 2 fantails, which are like small white peacocks.
Wow!
And he gave me with a home and everything, and they live now with the hens.
Do they lay eggs as well?
They haven't laid eggs yet, but they're a pair, as in I think they're going to have like. One day, hopefully, have a baby egg as well, an egg with a baby in it.
Wow!
I'm no expert now.
They're a couple of male and female.
They're a male and a female, yeah.
So we have the outbuildings.
Yeah.
In the back of our place, and they're old. They're like 1800s, and they have in the stone walls, which can be half a meter deep. Some of them have these openings, like 6 inches by 6 inches.
Yeah.
And they go in, and then they turn. And I think they were for raising pigeons. I don't know what the purpose, like were they rearing them for eggs? Is there eggs?
I'm not sure. I'm no eggs that you can eat, like. I don't know.
It seems,
I'm definitely no expert. I'm only. When they first arrived, they were first nervous as well. Like Jesus, like they were like all they wanted to do was stay in the back. But now they're kind of cool. Now they're kind of living with.
Did they rear them for the meat? I don't know.
Is there something with pigeons like that? People are keeping pigeons to kind of show off like how much excess food they have. That they've got like extra food for their pigeons. They're so I'm no fucking expert at all. Like, do you swim? No, do you used you compete? Is it my imagination? Or used you? Do you still compete?
No, not at all. I kind of just got tired of swimming. But
you do like to swim? Would you like outdoorsy kind of? Would you go to the reservoir now and or wherever?
Yeah. Since we put in one of those pools at home a few years ago, and I go into that. All winter, you know. Often I do it with the sauna. So you put on the sauna on a winter night and you go for a dip.
Oh my God,
it's great.
That'll freshen you up.
Yeah.
A winter's night sauna and a dip in the outdoor pool.
Yeah.
And the outdoor pool then is naturally filtered with the I seen one of the photographs of one of the projects you did.
Okay.
You've some. I'll let you go on in a minute because I really appreciate you're a really busy man and you come in to sit down with me for a little bit. I really appreciate it, dude. But some of your projects are really like cool on your website. You know what I mean that you've done.
Thanks, Mike.
Can you tell me there was a Guatemala? Tell me about that just before you go. Sorry,
sure.
it kind of stood out in the middle of your blogs or whatever.
It's a few years ago now. So this was a program run by the Norwegian government. They were doing this thing, and I don't know, they're still doing it. It was called Designers Without Borders, where they were looking at developing world issues and trying to pair a designer with that issue.
Okay.
So they had partner countries, and one of them was the municipality, the council of Guatemala City, and they said, look, we need a cycle planner here. Because we would like to
cycle lane planner.
We'd like to roll out a network of cycle routes in the city.
Yeah.
So they had an interview process, and I got the job, and I was sent to Guatemala for 18 months to work in the city council as project lead to bring that project to kind of completion. Well, to the planning part of it, and by the time I was finished, they started building the first cycle lanes in Guatemala City.
Okay.
But it's really stratified. You know the way Ireland's quite level, like you can kind of communicate fairly openly with anybody.
Okay.
They're their economic kind of strata. So like the rich people who work in the professional, let's say, level in the council.
Yeah.
They don't talk to the guy who's selling bread.
You got to be a head to talk to a head.
Yeah,
totally.
So
how are you going to get the friggin' work done if you go and talk to the man with the shovel? Like, you know what I mean? Isn't it?
Yeah. So they wouldn't. So the people I was working with in the city council offices, they were Sunday cyclists.
Yeah.
They put on all the lycra and helmets and go on the racing bikes. That, $2,000 bike. That kind of cyclist at the weekends. But they wouldn't cycle to work. That was like forbidden kind of thing. But then there was this underclass of people who deliver bread or water or gas bottles or ice creams, going around with your bike with loads of bells on it, and you've got some steel welded onto it to make kind of a shop out of it.
Yeah.
There's all the underclass of these people who work on the bike. So I was trying to kind of make the city council initially aware that these people exist, and they had some level of awareness, but only at the window of a kind of a speeding car, you know. They wouldn't.
Wow, that far removed, yeah.
Yeah, so it was really interesting actually. It was going with my colleagues, and they'd always bring a police guide, 2 police guides. Like that's how kind of nervous they were of going into their own city. Actually, they would kind of circulate in the fancy parts of it that had security on the malls and type of thing.
They were afraid of the working men, like pretty much, like
They would go to the exclusive zones of the city and not the everyday man zone of the city.
Oh yeah.
And it's some justification, you know. It's a violent city, but the violence isn't targeted at you as a foreigner.
No.
It's kind of Anyway, that was 18 months. I mean, to be honest about it, I don't know. Actually, I would kind of question this kind of idea of importing the expert from abroad. I think it's not the right way of doing it, actually.
No.
I think it's better homegrown, you know, and there's always somebody homegrown who's better.
There is the expertise if they try at home
and it's got a better lasting potential.
Or let's maybe send these guys who have half the expertise over to the likes of you for you to train them so they can go back. Is that or something like that?
Something. I mean, I wouldn't even claim huge expertise. I mean,
the
whole NGO model, I think, is very questionable, you know. It's kind of based on, I think, some assumptions that are, again, I don't agree with anymore, you know. That's almost this legacy of, well, in the colonial era it was the white man's guilt, and I think the NGO is still kind of operating in that.
It's still there.
We know what's best for you thing,
Yeah.
It's like, well, maybe if we stop fucking with the governments, they could develop that own capacity within themselves, and we wouldn't have to do a whole lot. If we enable trade and just let them the hell alone, maybe they would be a lot better off than hooking them up to all sorts of wonky trade deals and trying to extract money and then assuaging our guilt by sending over some experts to help them do, you know, whatever.
It's just bullshit.
Pretty much.
That's just fucking bullshit, Carl, isn't it? It's like I've something. Anyway, I'm a conspiracy realist. I think.
Sure. Well, I mean, all the conspiracy theories, they're gone.
It's
like they're all proven.
No, it's just like if I don't believe
We're
it.
running out, Mike.
I don't believe. Like I don't bother. Every now and again I'd be watching it, but I don't believe one bit of it now anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I enjoy meeting people who are maybe not like-minded, but who at least I can have an occasional conversation without fucking like them squirming in front of me. Do you know what I mean? And we're not totally brainwashed by the.
But it's actually having some mental flexibility. A lot of people don't have that, so they can't really engage, and they have to close it down.
Yeah, I'm not saying tie yourself to a flag or but just have that flexibility in your brain that you can maybe take someone's opinion and work with it and give them yours. But
it's like that with a lot of things. Like diet's a big one.
Yeah.
I've gone through periods where I've been vegan, vegetarian, and now I eat a lot of meat. But allowing yourself to actually change, you know, it's okay as well, you know.
It's okay, like to for one day of your life to not eat for 24 hours. You know, it won't kill you. Just or something like that. Or I guess we all get kind of stuck. It's just the older you get as well. Then sometimes you get a bit more routine-y and stucky. That's when we need a bigger kick up the arse to kind of to go and do something exciting and adventurous with your life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or you turn into an old man. Actually, I find doing this podcast actually is something that has excited me a little bit.
It exposes you to different
I just sweat coming out my back there before I meet people. Like, you know what I mean? So I like, but it's a nice way to put myself into to put yourself into that outside your comfort zone or whatever like that. I used to get it from sport, but I'm not competitive in sport anymore.
I know,
but you get a great buzz of sports competing, like
I haven't competed since I was a late teenager, you know, so
like lots of people actually.
But I remember all that butterflies and you'd be literally running to the jacks. It was swimming, you know. I didn't find it with rugby or that, and, you know, playing on a team is a lot easier, but one-on-one when you're in a swimming race and, you know, the 6E or 5E depending on how many lanes in the pool, that's kind of pressure, you know. And you're
pressure cooker in a swimming pool.
Swimming pool, I know.
echoey sound there.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
I'm getting the fucking buzz just thinking.
You have it with cycling as well. You had it, I guess.
Oh, I'm very competitive anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you said like I'll race you over the show next year now, I'd push you out of the way and I'd run across there as quick as I could. I'm still competitive. Yeah. But I love that feeling of the excitement of going to a race.
It's huge with kids. I see it with my 3 boys, particularly the older ones.
Yeah.
Wow. It's hardwired into them, you know.
Competition.
Oh, it's massive. Yeah. They're really into it. Like,
really some lads aren't then, is there some?
I know.
My kids aren't really. Well, they're in their own way, but
I know. I see it in cousins they aren't, and that's like it is how it is.
It's all good. You're musical. I'll leave you go now. After you play. Do you sing as well, or do you?
A little. Yeah.
In a band, you know.
We're in a loose kind of grouping of musicians in Cotters in Kilworth on a Thursday evening.
Nice.
Yesterday evening, just kind of.
In the open pub or in the back room?
In the back room.
In the back room.
But it's part of the pub, you know. It's kind of, Cotters is in 2 halves. Yeah. The back half. You can go in there and have your pint as well.
And there'll be music in the background.
There'll be 8 of us in there last night, and flutes and
brilliant.
Banjos and guitars, and I have a cajon and a guitar, and
you fucking man.
It's good. Yeah, it's all good.
Thanks very much for watching, and Cathal again, thanks for coming in. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Cathal.